It was an ordinary Wednesday evening in the quaint town of Willow Ridge. Residents of Evergreen Lane sipped their coffees, watered their front lawns, and exchanged the usual pleasantries. But little did they know, one of their neighbors harbored a dark past, and an even darker present. Dennis Whitaker was the kind of man who blended into the backdrop of small-town suburban life. Polite to a fault, always impeccably dressed, Dennis kept his yard pristine and his greetings warm. On paper, he seemed like the perfect neighbor. Though unassuming, there was something oddly meticulous about his routine. Every morning, he would leave his house at precisely 7:03 a.m., and every evening, he returned at exactly 6:15 p.m. Many thought Dennis was simply a creature of habit. No one suspected the truth. The chain of events that would unravel Dennis's carefully constructed facade began with a construction project on the eastern side of Willow Ridge. A group of workers had been digging near an overgrown patch of forest on the outskirts of town when they unearthed something chilling, a rusted metal drum buried 6 feet under. Inside the drum were human remains. The scene was a grotesque puzzle, and the workers immediately called the police. Detectives arrived within the hour, cordoning off the site. The remains were later identified as belonging to 2 individuals, a missing teenager named Lila Harmon and a drifter known only as Frankie D. Both cases were cold, their trails long since run dry. But now, the evidence had literally resurfaced. What tied these 2 strangers together? And more importantly, who had put them in that drum? As investigators worked to connect the dots, whispers began to ripple through Willow Ridge. People speculated whether the killer still roamed free. And if so, who could it be? Days turned into weeks as the forensic team scoured the area for clues. Just as the case threatened to stall again, they caught a break. A single hair strand found inside the drum matched DNA from an old, unsolved assault case in a nearby city. The suspect's name? Dennis Whitaker. When detectives knocked on Dennis's door one crisp autumn morning, the man who answered appeared calm, almost serene. But as they presented their search warrant and began combing through his home, Dennis's mask of composure faltered. In the basement, tucked behind stacks of neatly labeled storage boxes, investigators found a hidden door leading to a soundproofed room. Inside, they uncovered handcuffs, rolls of duct tape, and an array of disturbing photographs. Among them were images of Lila and Frankie, both of whom Dennis had claimed as his victims. The trial that followed was nothing short of a media spectacle. As prosecutors laid out their case, the townsfolk filled the courtroom, horrified yet morbidly fascinated. Dennis was revealed to have been living a double life. By day, he was the courteous neighbor and dedicated accountant. By night, he was a predator who meticulously planned his crimes, preying on vulnerable individuals who wouldn't be missed. What shocked everyone the most was Dennis's complete lack of remorse. During his testimony, he described his actions with chilling indifference, as though recounting an ordinary day at work. "It was nothing personal," he said, "just something I needed to do." In the end, the jury deliberated for less than 2 hours before delivering their verdict. Guilty on all counts. Dennis Whitaker was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, and the residents of Willow Ridge were left to grapple with the unsettling realization that evil had lived right next door. The case of Dennis Whitaker became one of the most infamous in the region's history, a grim reminder that appearances can be deceiving. To this day, Evergreen Lane residents speak in hushed tones about their former neighbor, their quiet street forever tarnished by the sinister secret it unknowingly harbored.